does you, a person who's rich, who doesn't know what struggle is like, and who also talks about the fact that you use your own son's blood, have to add to us as humanity?
Yeah. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey.
I grew up with 4 other siblings, single mom. My mother made my clothes because we didn't have enough money for her to buy clothes for me. I went to school and I got made fun of because my clothes didn't fit and they were awkward. I didn't have money my entire life. I became an entrepreneur. I struggled for 14 years with no money whatsoever. So I understand what it feels like to have no money. I know what it feels like to be poor. So I've been through that. I also was chronically depressed for 10 years. I wanted to commit suicide desperately. I really would have committed suicide had it not been for my 3 kids. I felt like I had a responsibility to them. So I understand struggle. I understand pain. I was, 50 pounds overweight. I was in a terrible shape. And so I understand what it's like to be that way. My argument is not to criticize you or anyone else. What I'm arguing is that companies have built their products to make you addicted and to make you ill.
Do you not think that you're addicted to trying to stay alive?
So let me get this straight. You come at this guy from an approach as if he's been fed via a silver spoon his whole life. He then proceeds to defend his argument and tell you his background, that he was like everybody else, the average person, or even in poverty, struggled for 14 years, thought about killing himself and committing suicide. But if it had not been for his 3 kids, he probably would have done it. And your response to that is, you don't think you're addicted to staying alive? And, I've seen this lady online before. She's left-leaning and a liberal, not really surprised by that. But there seems to be this notion among that ideology, and I've said this many times before. These people genuinely think that, the people who actually make a lot of money and they get to that status and that level by working hard, these people are somehow jealous and they can't stand the fact that somebody else is well off and better off than them financially. I'm telling you, man, if leftists and liberals genuinely think that everybody else should pay for their lifestyle and they should never ever have to work hard for what they have. They genuinely feel like everybody should be on the same level playing field, and other people through their hard work should not be rewarded in a spectacular way. If anything, what I learned from that guy's, I would call it testimony, right, is that if you work hard and you actually have things that matter to you, i.e. his children, or maybe you're a person who wants to work hard for their parents, or you want to get your parents out of poverty, like, it's actually possible to do it. And moaning and bitching about everybody else's, not contributing to your success is always going to be a red flag. But, that's just what liberals believe in.
Men versus women, head-to-head, 2 best teams in the world. Winner gets voting rights in the next election.
No, that's not it. You don't want that. No. I get why you're upset, but no, that's not what you want.
No. Let it happen. Let it happen.
This is just one concept that I'll never ever be able to understand, and why people think this way. Like, I can't believe that there are people who out there who genuinely believe that men and women are equal and they're on the same level of playing field whenever it comes to physical sports or certain activities. Listen, there's a reason why there's double NBA, WNBA, and there's a reason why there's an NBA. There's a reason why in the police academy, right, there's a standard for males and there's a standard for females, right? There's a reason why in the military there's a standard for males and there's a standard for females. And let's call a spade a spade. The female standard is always lowered. Or I should say the standard, i.e. the male standard, is always lowered to allow females and women to get into certain positions that, they simply just cannot compete on the same level as men. But for some reason, some people cannot grasp this simple concept about biology. Like, they genuinely think that women can do the same things that men can do at the same rate and level that men can do it. It's just not possible. I mean, how many examples do you need? I mean, we have this scenario right here, right? FC Dallas under 15, the U.S. women's national team, who were one of the best teams in the world, by the way, women's teams in the world, by the way, at the time in 2017, lost to a under 15 boys. There's no competition. And if that doesn't suffice, I'll show you what it looks like at the professional level when it comes to soccer. When you have a professional women's team playing against a professional or guys who are on the professional male team. Like, it's not even a competition. It's not fair. Why is this still an argument? Why? I mean, it's not fair. You can see they move quicker. Their footwork is faster. Like they move the ball quicker. There's no competition, and that was a professional, right? That team is Crystal Palace, located in London, right? Crystal Palace women's team versus the male team, and look what the player did to the women. It's not fair. And we even have more recent, examples like Leah Thomas swimming. It's just not a competition. Like men and women are different.
This is what he did. Lured them with candy, Barbie dolls, toys, and abused these kids horrifically. Horrifically. He was given 3 consecutive terms, 20-year terms. He should have been in prison the rest of his life. Unfortunately, in 2020, a bill was passed that made folks eligible for parole as early as 50 years of age once they serve 20 years. So he qualifies. He's 64 years old. I'm 62. That is dead wrong. These children, he ruined their lives. And now he's eligible. And the damage he's done, he stole their childhoods. And my issue is the parole board. I read the reports. They're horrific. You've seen some of the things he did. There's no explanation. You can't explain it away. There are some folks that deserve a second chance in life. Someone that does these type of things, they don't deserve a second chance in life. What are we coming to as a society here in California? That it's okay with this, to let him out.
So this is the individual that, that sheriff was talking about. His name is David Allen Funston. This guy got, convicted on 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation. He was sentenced to 3 years, well, not 3 years, 3 consecutive 25-year sentences. So basically, he was supposed to spend the rest of his life in prison. But as this guy perfectly said, there's a bill that got signed into place in 2020 that made, people who are 50 years old, once you spent 20 years or 20 consecutive years in prison, you can actually get parole. You're actually eligible for parole. And after reviewing all the crimes that this guy did, right? 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation, right? Let me get his picture off the screen because this guy looks weird. He looks creepy. Like this is a child's worst nightmare right here. They thought it was okay to approve his release on parole. Now, I do have good news, though, because apparently they actually filed new charges and he's actually not going to be released. But that just goes to show you, like, the way how California is cooked, man. Like, that state, man, that state is fried. And the city of Sacramento, nah. The fact that they actually approved his release after all those crimes that he had committed, they saw the report because they have to review these files and cases before they actually release somebody on parole. And if it had not been for the prosecutor's office filing new charges against this guy, he would have been out in the public after being convicted and being charged with 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation.